Welcome to our channel. I'm Noah, and today we're talking about something that can completely change the way you speak English. 50 sentence patterns that can make your English sound more natural, confident, and fluent.
And I'm Grace, and I love this topic because fluency isn't always about knowing more difficult words. Sometimes it's about knowing the right sentence patterns and using them quickly when you need them.
Exactly. You might already know thousands of English words. You might understand movies, podcasts, and conversations. But when someone suddenly asks you a simple question, your mind goes blank.
You know, a lot of learners feel this way. They understand English much better than they can speak it. And that's usually because they haven't practiced enough ready-to-use patterns.
So today isn't about memorizing 50 complicated grammar rules. It's about discovering patterns you can actually use in real conversations, at work, with friends, while traveling, or even when you're just talking about your day.
And some of these patterns are incredibly simple, but they can make your English sound much smoother because native speakers use structures like these all the time.
Let me give you a quick example. Instead of saying, "I think this is a good idea," you could say, "I have a feeling this could work."
Right, the meaning is similar, but the second sentence feels a little more natural and conversational. And once you learn patterns like that, you don't have to build every sentence from zero.
That's the real goal, isn't it? To stop translating every sentence in your head and start responding more naturally.
Definitely. And I want you to imagine you're having a conversation right now. Someone asks you a question, you understand it, and instead of searching for grammar rules, the right pattern simply comes to you.
That would feel amazing. And honestly, that's the kind of English confidence most learners are looking for.
So keep listening, because we're going to explore useful patterns through real situations, little conversations, and everyday examples. And by the end, you'll have plenty of expressions you can start practicing today.
And don't worry if you can't remember everything at once. You don't need to. Choose a few patterns that feel useful, practice them often, and gradually make them part of your natural speaking.
Exactly. Because fluency isn't built by trying to sound perfect. It's built by using useful language again and again until it feels familiar. And there's one simple conversation where you'll hear just how powerful these patterns can be.
So, imagine you're talking to a friend after work, and they ask you how your day went. You don't want to sound like you're reading from a grammar book. You want your words to come naturally.
Exactly. And that's where sentence patterns become powerful. Instead of creating every sentence word by word, you can use a familiar structure and simply change the information inside it.
Let's try one right away. I was about to, followed by an action. Means you were very close to doing something. For example, I was about to call you.
That's a great one, and you can use it everywhere. I was about to leave. I was about to go to bed. I was about to order dinner, or I was about to send you a message.
And here's another useful pattern. I've been meaning to, followed by an action, which is perfect when you've wanted to do something for a while.
Right, you could say, I've been meaning to call you, I've been meaning to ask you something, or I've been meaning to clean my room.
That sounds much more natural than stopping to think about a complicated sentence every time.
Definitely. And here's one that can help you express your opinion naturally, the way I see it, followed by your idea.
The way I see it, we should leave a little earlier.
Or the way I see it, working consistently is more important than studying for 5 hours once a month.
I like that one, because it sounds confident without sounding too strong.
Exactly. And that's an important part of fluent English. You want to express your ideas clearly, but you also want your language to feel flexible and natural.
Here's another everyday pattern. It turns out that, followed by information you discovered later.
For example, it turns out that my friend already knew about the surprise.
That's useful, and I can imagine using it in a real conversation. Like, it turns out that the restaurant was closed.
Yes. And here's another one. I ended up, followed by an action, which is useful when something happens differently from what you originally expected.
I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out with my friends.
Exactly. Or I went to the store for some milk, but I ended up buying a whole bag of snacks.
That sounds dangerously realistic.
You know what? Sometimes the snacks have their own plans.
Fair enough. And now let's look at a pattern that can help you sound more conversational when explaining your choices. I decided to, followed by an action, because, followed by a reason.
For example, I decided to walk home because the weather was beautiful.
Or, I decided to take a break because I couldn't concentrate anymore.
Simple, useful, and easy to personalize. And that's exactly what we want from these patterns.
So if you're listening right now, don't just hear the sentences. Try to imagine yourself using them. Maybe you're talking to a coworker, a friend, a family member, or someone you just met.
Yes, and here's a quick challenge. Complete this sentence in your head. I've been meaning to, and then add something you really have wanted to do recently.
Maybe I've been meaning to start exercising.
Or, I've been meaning to improve my English speaking.
That's a good one for everyone listening today.
And remember, you don't need to memorize all 50 patterns today. Choose 3 or 4 that feel useful. Say them aloud. Create your own examples and use them again tomorrow.
Because the goal isn't to know 50 patterns and never use them, the goal is to know a few so well that they come to you automatically.
Exactly. And once a pattern becomes familiar, you can change the words inside it, and suddenly you have dozens of new sentences without learning dozens of new structures.
That's when English starts feeling easier, and maybe even a little more fun.
And the more you notice these patterns in real conversations, the more naturally you'll start using them yourself, which is why the next step is to understand why these simple structures can make such a big difference in everyday English.
You know what I like about these patterns? They give you a starting point, and that starting point can make speaking much easier.
Exactly. Because when you're speaking English, the hardest part isn't always knowing the words. Sometimes it's knowing how to put those words together quickly.
Right. You may know the words decide, go, restaurant, and tonight. But when you're speaking, you still need to build the sentence.
That's where a pattern helps. You don't have to build everything from scratch. You can simply use I decided to, and then add your idea.
So instead of thinking about grammar first, I can think about the meaning first.
Exactly. And that's much closer to how natural conversation works. You already have a structure in your mind, and you simply fill it with the information you want to communicate.
Let's take I was about to because I think this one is especially useful.
Definitely. Imagine your phone rings while you're making dinner, and your friend asks why you didn't answer earlier.
I could say, sorry, I was about to call you.
Perfect. And notice how easily you can change the ending. I was about to eat, I was about to leave, I was about to take a shower, or I was about to go to sleep.
So one pattern can create many different sentences.
Yes, and that is one of the secrets behind fluent speaking. You don't need a completely new sentence structure for every new idea.
You need a familiar structure that you can reuse.
Exactly. And here's another powerful one. I've been meaning to, followed by an action.
This sounds useful when you've wanted to do something for some time.
That's right. Imagine you see an old friend after several months. You might say, I've been meaning to call you.
Or if you've been studying English for a while, you could say, I've been meaning to practice speaking more often.
And that sentence sounds natural because it expresses an intention that has existed for some time.
What about the way I see it?
That's a wonderful pattern when you want to express an opinion without making it sound too aggressive.
So instead of saying, you're wrong, I could say, the way I see it, there's another way to look at this.
Exactly. It creates space for another person's opinion, and that's very useful in real conversations.
I can imagine using it at work too. The way I see it, we should finish this today.
Yes, and you can make it softer. The way I see it, we might want to wait until tomorrow.
That's interesting, because fluent English isn't only about grammar. It's also about how your words sound in a conversation.
Absolutely. And that is why patterns are so useful. They help you communicate not only information, but also attitude, intention, confidence, and politeness.
Let's talk about it. Turns out that
Of course, this pattern is useful when you discover something that you didn't know before.
for example, I thought the store was open, but it turns out that it closes early on Sundays.
Exactly. Or you could say, I thought learning English would take forever, but it turns out that practicing a little every day makes a huge difference.
I like that example.
Me too, because it connects directly with what we're doing here.
And then we have I ended up, which is great for talking about unexpected results.
Right. Maybe you planned to study English for 30 minutes, but you ended up watching English videos for 2 hours.
That sounds like studying.
It can be, especially if you watched useful videos.
Fair enough. And another example could be, I wanted to cook dinner, but I ended up ordering takeout.
Exactly. And notice how easy it is to change the situation while keeping the same pattern.
I ended up staying home.
I ended up meeting some friends.
I ended up buying a new phone.
I ended up working late.
This is starting to feel much easier than memorizing individual sentences.
That's the point. You're learning a flexible structure rather than one fixed sentence.
So if I learn 10 useful patterns and create 10 examples for each one, I already have 100 sentences I can practice.
Exactly. And then you can take those sentences into real conversations.
Let's make this practical. Imagine someone asks you, what did you do yesterday?
You could answer, I was about to go home, but I ended up meeting a friend.
And if they ask why you haven't called them recently,
You could say, I've been meaning to call you, but I've been really busy.
and if they ask about your opinion on something,
You could say, the way I see it, we should give it another chance.
and if you discover something unexpected,
You can say, it turns out that the place was much better than I expected.
look at that. We've already created a small conversation using only a few patterns.
Exactly. And that's why I want you to stop thinking about these patterns as grammar exercises.
Think of them as tools.
Yes, tools you can pick up whenever you need them.
And there is another important point. You don't have to sound exactly like a native speaker.
Definitely not. Your goal is to communicate clearly, comfortably, and confidently.
So if you say a sentence using one of these patterns and someone understands you immediately, that's already a success.
Absolutely. And fluency grows when you stop judging every sentence while you're speaking.
That's difficult for many learners because we want every sentence to be perfect.
I know. But if you stop every few seconds to check every grammar rule, your conversation becomes slow and stressful.
So what should learners do instead?
Practice the pattern as a whole. Say it aloud, change one word, say it again, change another word, and keep going until the structure feels familiar.
For example, I was about to leave.
I was about to eat.
I was about to call my friend.
I was about to start working.
I was about to go to bed.
Exactly. You're training your brain to recognize the structure quickly.
And after enough practice, you don't need to translate it from your first language every time.
That's the real benefit. The pattern becomes available when you need it.
So let's recap the main idea before we continue. Sentence patterns help you speak faster because they give you a structure. They make your English sound more natural because they are common in real conversation. And they make practice easier because you can create many sentences from one pattern.
Exactly. And remember, you don't need to master all 50 today. Start with a few, practice them aloud, connect them to your own life, and use them again and again.
Because the goal isn't to collect English sentences.
The goal is to make English sentences when you actually need them.
And once that happens, speaking starts to feel less like building a puzzle.
And more like having a real conversation.
That sounds like a good reason to keep practicing.
Definitely. Because the more familiar these patterns become, the easier it gets to respond without stopping to translate every thought.
And now I think it's time to hear what this sounds like when these patterns are used naturally, without stopping to explain them.
Exactly. Let's put everything together and simply listen to how these patterns can flow through a real conversation.
All right, let's slow things down for a moment and simply listen to how these patterns sound when they become part of a real conversation.
Exactly. This time, don't worry about remembering every word. Just listen for the sentence patterns and notice how naturally they fit into everyday English.
Hey, what are you doing tonight?
Honestly, I was about to stay home and watch something, but my friend just called me.
Oh, really? What did she want?
She wanted to grab dinner, and I've been meaning to try that new restaurant downtown.
The one everyone keeps talking about.
That's the one. And the funny thing is, I was about to tell her that I didn't want to go out.
So what happened?
I ended up saying yes.
Of course you did.
You know me too well.
So you're going to the restaurant tonight?
Yeah, I think so. The way I see it, I spend too much time at home anyway.
That's true. Sometimes you need to get out and do something different.
Exactly. And it turns out that my friend has already made a reservation.
Nice. So everything is planned.
Pretty much. And I was about to ask her what time we should meet.
And did you?
Yes, she said 7.
Sounds good.
Definitely, although I have one small problem.
What's that?
I have nothing to wear.
You have nothing to wear.
That's what I said.
You have an entire closet.
I know, but somehow none of it works.
That's a classic problem.
Exactly. And I ended up trying on 5 different outfits.
5.
Yes, and then I realized I was wearing the first outfit again.
That's actually impressive.
I know. I basically spent 20 minutes proving that my first choice was right.
You could have saved 20 minutes.
I could have, but then I wouldn't have learned anything.
What did you learn?
I learned that I should trust myself more.
That's surprisingly deep for a conversation about clothes.
You know what? Everyday life can teach you a lot.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I've been meaning to ask you something too.
Go ahead.
Have you been practicing your English speaking recently?
I have, but sometimes I still hesitate.
What usually happens?
I understand what people say, but when it's my turn to answer, I start thinking about grammar.
That's very common.
Then I try to create the perfect sentence.
And by the time you create it, the conversation has already moved on.
Exactly.
That's why I want you to practice patterns instead of trying to create every sentence from the beginning.
So if someone asks me what I did yesterday, I can use I ended up.
Exactly. You could say, I planned to stay home, but I ended up meeting some friends.
Or, I wanted to study, but I ended up watching a movie.
Right. And if someone asks what you were doing before they called, you can use I was about to.
I was about to go to bed.
Perfect.
I was about to leave.
Exactly.
I was about to make dinner.
See, you're already doing it.
This feels easier when I don't have to invent everything from scratch.
That's the idea. You already have the frame. You just need to put your own meaning inside it.
I think that's one of the biggest problems learners have. We know the vocabulary, but we don't always have the structure ready.
Exactly. And that's why repetition matters so much.
So let's give the listeners another little challenge.
Good idea.
Complete this sentence. I've been meaning to.
Don't think too long. Just finish it with something real.
I've been meaning to call my brother.
I've been meaning to clean my desk.
I've been meaning to start exercising.
I've been meaning to practice English every morning.
And now try this one. I was about to.
I was about to leave the house.
I was about to order lunch.
I was about to send an email.
And one more. I ended up.
I ended up staying home.
I ended up working late.
I ended up talking to an old friend.
That's pretty simple.
Exactly. But simple doesn't mean useless. Simple patterns become powerful when you can use them automatically.
And that reminds me of something funny that happened to me.
Oh, I want to hear this.
A few weeks ago, I decided I was going to have a very productive Saturday.
That sounds dangerous already.
I woke up early, made coffee, cleaned my desk, and wrote down everything I wanted to finish.
Very organized.
Extremely organized. Maybe too organized.
What happened?
I was about to start working when I thought I should check my phone for just 5 minutes.
I know where this is going.
Of course you do.
Continue.
I checked one message, then another. Then I watched a short video.
And then another short video.
Exactly. And somehow I ended up watching cooking videos for almost an hour.
That's not a productivity strategy.
I know, but I learned how to make homemade bread.
So technically, you learned something.
That's how I defended myself.
And did you actually make the bread?
No.
I knew it.
I ended up ordering pizza.
That's even better.
The funny thing is, while I was eating the pizza, I realized something.
What did you realize?
I realized I was spending too much energy trying to have a perfect day.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah, because I thought every hour needed to be productive. But sometimes you need to relax, make mistakes, waste a little time, and enjoy yourself.
Exactly. And English learning can be the same.
What do you mean?
Some learners try to make every sentence perfect, and that makes speaking stressful.
So they end up saying less.
Exactly. And sometimes they were about to speak, but they stopped because they weren't sure about one word.
I've definitely done that.
Most learners have, but you don't need perfect English to have a meaningful conversation.
You need enough English to keep the conversation moving.
That's right, and these patterns can help with that because they give you something to hold on to when your mind is searching for the next words.
So instead of freezing, I can use a pattern and keep going.
Yes, and that's what I want you to notice when you listen to the conversation again. Don't focus only on individual vocabulary.
Listen for the structures.
Exactly! Listen for I was about to, I've been meaning to, I ended up, the way I see it, and it turns out that.
Then imagine your own life inside those patterns.
That's the important part.
If the sentence doesn't connect to your life, it's harder to remember.
Right, but if you say, I've been meaning to call my mother, and that's actually something you've wanted to do, the sentence suddenly has meaning.
And meaning makes practice easier.
Exactly.
So maybe tonight, instead of memorizing 50 patterns, I'll choose 5.
That's a much better plan.
I'll say each one aloud several times.
Then create a few sentences about your real life.
And tomorrow, I'll try to use them again.
Perfect, and don't worry if you make mistakes.
No worries.
That's the attitude.
You know what? I think I'm ready to go to that restaurant now.
Finally.
I was about to cancel.
Don't even think about it.
Fine, I'm coming.
Good, because I've been meaning to try their dessert.
I knew there was a reason you wanted to go.
Of course there was.
And if the restaurant is closed?
Then we'll figure something out.
And if we get lost?
We'll probably end up finding somewhere even better.
That's true.
See, you're using the patterns already.
Maybe this English practice is actually working.
Definitely. And that's exactly what we want. Not perfect English, but English that comes out naturally when you need it.
And that feels much more useful than memorizing sentences that never leave your notebook.
Absolutely, because the best sentence pattern is the one you can actually use in real life.
You know, the more we talk about these sentence patterns, the more I realize that fluent English isn't really about trying to sound impressive.
That's true. It's much more about being comfortable with the language you already know and having useful structures ready when you need them.
I've had moments when I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but I couldn't say it quickly.
A lot of learners experience that, especially when they understand English well but don't get enough chances to speak it.
And I think that's where I made a mistake. I kept learning more vocabulary because I thought more words would automatically make me more fluent.
That's a very common approach, and vocabulary is important, but vocabulary alone doesn't guarantee fast speaking.
Right. I could learn 20 new words today and still struggle to answer a simple question tomorrow.
Exactly. Because speaking requires you to retrieve words, organize them, and express your meaning in real time.
So I started paying more attention to sentence patterns.
And what changed?
I noticed that conversations became easier, especially when I stopped trying to create every sentence from the beginning.
Give me an example.
If someone asked me about my plans, I used to think, I need to make a complete sentence. Then I would translate my idea, then I would check the grammar.
That sounds exhausting.
It was, and sometimes the other person had already changed the subject before I finished thinking.
That's exactly why automatic patterns are so helpful.
Now I might start with I'm thinking of, and then add the action.
For example, I'm thinking of taking a short trip this weekend.
Or, I'm thinking of changing my morning routine.
Exactly. And once the beginning comes naturally, you have more mental space to focus on what you actually want to say.
Another thing that helped me was practicing patterns with my own experiences.
That's important because personal examples are much easier to remember than random sentences.
Instead of saying, I've been meaning to visit the museum, I might say, I've been meaning to visit my friend in another city.
And because that sentence belongs to your real life, your brain has a reason to remember it.
Exactly. And I also started practicing with small situations.
What kind of situations?
Getting coffee, talking about work, making plans, explaining a problem, talking about yesterday, or telling someone what I was thinking.
Those ordinary moments are perfect for speaking practice.
I even started talking to myself sometimes.
That's actually a useful habit.
I know it sounds a little strange.
No worries. Many good language learners talk to themselves.
I would say things like, I'm about to make breakfast. Then I would add, I ended up making something completely different.
That's a great way to connect patterns with your daily routine.
And I didn't need an hour of free time.
Exactly. You can practice while you're walking, cooking, getting dressed, or making coffee.
Sometimes I only practiced for 5 minutes.
5 focused minutes can be more useful than an hour of passive studying if you're actively producing language.
That's something I wish I'd understood earlier.
What would you tell your younger self?
I'd say, stop waiting until your English is perfect before you start speaking.
That's powerful.
Because I used to think I needed better grammar, more vocabulary, and more confidence first.
But confidence often comes after practice, not before it.
Exactly. You don't become confident and then start speaking. You start speaking and gradually become more confident.
That's one of the most important ideas in language learning.
And sentence patterns can make that process less scary.
Definitely, because they give you a small piece of certainty.
Even if I don't know exactly how to finish my sentence, I can begin with a pattern I know.
And once you begin, the next words often become easier to find.
So let's make this practical for anyone listening.
Good idea.
Choose 5 patterns from today's conversation.
Don't choose them because they sound impressive. Choose them because you can imagine using them tomorrow.
For example, I was about to, I've been meaning to, I ended up, the way I see it, and it turns out that.
Then create 3 personal sentences for each pattern.
Say them aloud, don't just write them down.
Exactly. Your goal is to train your mouth and your brain together.
Then change the sentences slightly.
Change the person, the place, the time, or the situation.
So I was about to leave becomes I was about to call my friend.
And I've been meaning to practice becomes I've been meaning to ask you something.
Then tomorrow, use one of them in a real conversation.
Even if the conversation is very short.
And if you make a mistake,
Keep going.
if you forget a word,
Explain it another way.
if your sentence isn't perfect,
That's okay.
if you feel nervous.
Speak anyway.
I like that.
Because real fluency isn't built during perfect conversations. It's built during imperfect ones.
And every time you successfully communicate an idea, you're teaching your brain that speaking English is possible.
Exactly, and that experience matters.
So maybe the real goal isn't to memorize 50 patterns.
No, the real goal is to turn a small number of useful patterns into habits.
Then gradually add more.
Exactly. One useful pattern today, another tomorrow, and another next week.
Before you know it, you'll have dozens of structures available when you speak.
And you won't need to consciously think about each one.
They'll simply become part of the way you communicate.
That's when English starts feeling less like a subject you're studying and more like a skill you're actually using.
And honestly, that's what I want. I don't want to know English only in my notebook.
You want to use it in your life.
Exactly.
Then keep bringing English into your ordinary moments, because ordinary moments are where fluency grows.
And maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up, try describing what you're doing with 3 sentence patterns.
That's a simple challenge.
I'm about to get out of bed,
I've been meaning to exercise this morning.
but I ended up staying in bed for another 10 minutes.
See, you're already practicing.
And that's probably the most realistic English lesson ever.
Definitely, because sometimes the best practice starts with what you're actually doing right now.
So don't wait for the perfect study session.
Use the English you have today.
And let tomorrow's English become a little stronger.
Exactly. That's how small patterns slowly become fluent speech.
You know, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we finish. And it's something that can make these sentence patterns much more useful in everyday life.
Of course, because knowing a pattern is one thing, but being able to use it when you're tired, nervous, or caught off guard is something else.
Exactly. And that's where real practice comes in.
Think about a normal day. You wake up, make breakfast, check your phone, go to work, talk to people, make plans, solve little problems, and maybe relax at the end of the day.
Every one of those moments can become English practice.
Definitely, you don't need to create a special English world around yourself. You can simply describe the world you're already living in.
For example, when I wake up, I can say, "I'm about to get ready for work."
Then while you're getting ready, you could say, "I've been meaning to organize my clothes."
And if you suddenly change your plan, I ended up wearing the same shirt again.
Exactly. And notice how natural that feels because you're talking about something real.
Then maybe I leave home and realize I've forgotten my keys.
You could say, "It turns out that I left my keys on the kitchen table."
That's already 4 patterns before I've even arrived at work.
And that's why daily practice can be so powerful. You're not memorizing English in isolation. You're attaching English to real experiences.
What about conversations with other people?
That's where you can practice even more, especially when someone asks you unexpected questions.
Like, what are you doing this weekend?
You could say, "I'm thinking of visiting my parents," or "I was planning to stay home, but I ended up making plans with some friends."
And if I want to give my opinion?
You can use "the way I see it," followed by your idea.
The way I see it, we should leave early.
Exactly. And if you discover something surprising later, you can say, "It turns out that..."
It turns out that the meeting was cancelled.
Or it turns out that my friend was right.
These patterns really do cover so many situations.
They do, but don't forget the most important part. You need to use them repeatedly.
So let's do a quick mental recap.
Good idea.
I was about to is useful for something that was going to happen very soon.
I've been meaning to is useful for something you've wanted or intended to do for some time.
I ended up is useful when the final result is different from what you originally expected.
The way I see it helps you express an opinion naturally.
And it turns out that helps you introduce something you discovered later.
Exactly. And those are only a few patterns from the much bigger collection we're building.
But I don't want you to think, I have to memorize everything before I can speak.
Please don't do that.
Good advice.
Choose a few patterns and make them yours.
What does make them yours mean?
Connect them to your own life, your own experiences, your own opinions, and your own routines.
So instead of copying my examples, I should create my own.
Yes, because your brain remembers meaningful language much better than random language.
Let me try one. I've been meaning to wake up earlier.
Good.
I was about to start doing it last week, but I ended up staying up late.
Very realistic.
The way I see it, I need to stop using my phone before bed.
And it turns out that you already have a complete little story.
That's actually pretty cool.
Exactly. And you just practiced several patterns without studying a grammar rule.
That's the kind of practice I can actually enjoy.
And enjoyment matters, because if English practice always feels like hard work, you'll eventually want to avoid it.
But if it feels like talking about your own life, it's much easier to keep going.
That's right, and consistency is more important than intensity.
So 10 minutes every day can be better than studying for 3 hours once and then stopping for 2 weeks.
Definitely, especially when those 10 minutes include speaking aloud.
I think many learners spend too much time understanding English and not enough time producing it.
That's a very important point. Listening gives you input, but speaking gives your brain a chance to use that input.
So after listening to this podcast, I shouldn't just say, "That was useful," and close it.
Right, take one pattern and use it immediately.
Even if I'm alone.
Especially if you're alone, because there is no pressure.
I can say, "I've been meaning to improve my English," and then continue talking for 30 seconds.
Exactly. Tell yourself why. Tell yourself what you've tried. And tell yourself what you're going to do next.
And if I make a mistake,
Keep speaking.
if I forget a word,
Find another way to explain it.
if I pause,
Take a breath and continue.
if I feel embarrassed.
Remember that you're practicing a skill, not performing on a stage.
That's a good reminder.
You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to keep communicating.
And maybe that's the biggest lesson from today's conversation.
I think so. Fluency isn't something you suddenly receive one day. It grows through hundreds of small moments when you choose to speak instead of staying silent.
One sentence today.
Another sentence tomorrow.
One small conversation this week.
And gradually, those small moments become confidence.
So if you're listening while walking, cooking, driving, or relaxing before bed, take one sentence pattern from today's episode and say it aloud.
Don't worry about your accent. Don't worry about making a mistake. And don't worry about sounding perfect.
Just make the sentence.
Then make another one.
And another.
Exactly, because every repetition makes the pattern more familiar.
And eventually, you won't have to think, "What's the grammar for this?"
You'll simply think, "I've been meaning to," and your sentence will follow.
That's the feeling we're looking for.
A little less thinking, a little more speaking, and a little more confidence every day.
Sounds good to me.
Me too, and honestly, that's a pretty good way to learn English.
And here we are, at the end of our conversation. But I hope it doesn't feel like the end of your English practice.
Exactly, because everything we've talked about today can continue with you after this podcast ends.
You don't need a classroom, a perfect study plan, or hours of free time.
You simply need a few useful patterns, a little patience, and the courage to use your English before you feel completely ready.
Today we talked about how sentence patterns can help you speak more naturally, respond faster, and feel less pressure when you're trying to express yourself.
And remember, you don't have to memorize all 50 patterns at once. Choose a few that feel useful and start using them in your real life.
You can practice while you're making coffee, walking outside, getting ready for work, or lying in bed at the end of a long day.
Try describing what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you did earlier, or what you plan to do tomorrow.
Use simple patterns, change the words, and repeat them until they start feeling familiar.
And when you make a mistake, don't stop. Mistakes are not proof that your English is bad. They're proof that you're actually using it.
That's something worth remembering.
Definitely, because you don't become fluent by waiting for confidence. You build confidence by speaking again and again.
So if you've been feeling nervous about speaking English, take a little pressure off yourself.
You don't need to sound perfect. You just need to communicate one idea, then another, and then another.
And if you forget a word, explain it differently.
If you make a grammar mistake, keep going.
If you need a few seconds to think, take a breath.
And if you feel like giving up, remember why you started.
Your English doesn't have to improve overnight.
It just needs to move forward, little by little.
So here's your challenge after this episode. Choose 5 sentence patterns you remember. Create 3 sentences about your own life for each one and say them aloud.
Then tomorrow, try to use at least one of those patterns in a real conversation.
That small action can be more valuable than simply reading another list of English sentences.
Exactly, because English becomes yours when you use it.
And if you enjoyed learning with us today, we'd love to have you back for another relaxed English conversation.
If this episode helped you, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us which sentence pattern you're going to practice first.
Keep listening.
Keep speaking.
Keep practicing.
And most importantly, keep believing that your English can improve.
We'll keep learning together, one conversation at a time.
Take care, keep your English close, and catch you later.